Alright, what's up guys? Welcome back to another video, and today we are going to be doing episode 13 of the MedalMan WICSO series. Which, I don't even know why I haven't said this yet, like at all. It's what if civilization started over. And first off, we are going to go over to Scandinavia. England is pretty calm right now. There's still, of course, this alliance, and they're actually looking for a potential chance to kick these two off of this isle as well, but that's the future for now. But what we do see near the isles is that the Brown team, with help from Scotland, they find this gap here and begin to really just completely explore the North Sea. It actually goes pretty fast with the Brown team being such a major power and with some limited help from Normandy. And eventually the entire North Sea is discovered, increasing trade here a lot, but especially here a lot, as these two begin to become good friends, along with these two who are friends with here. And it's kind of like a block across Northern Europe. We now come over to actual Scandinavia, like I was going to say, and we get to see the Brown team moving up north. They would conquer, wrong style, this, and come up here along this peninsula. Also, I have no clue how that part didn't get covered. Let me fix that. Alright, they would also go far up to the Norwegian coast, around here, and eventually up to this right here and finding this peninsula. I didn't go really up there yet with the nation because it is really cold. But, well, yeah, I'm just going to real quick make this board a little nicer. I don't know about y'all, but I am one to like nice borders. The same would happen with the Brown team over here, with them taking much of this area in here. Also, yes, I know there are lakes in interior Sweden that they don't matter, really. Let's see the Brown team go up this coast. However, again, be forced to stop eventually because of how cold it gets. Because cold is really an issue in this world. Because you don't have like winter jackets or anything much. Over here in Finland, we see the Estonian team find this whole bay here, and eventually, with both sides going around, find the Leningrad area along with this interior sea. They would explore up along here, along more of the Finnish south coast, and up the coast of Finland. And Estonia would make no slowdown at conquering this before anyone else does. Seizing this, the Finnish ship along the coast, even into St. Petersburg, along with the Finnish ship along this coast, becoming heavily reliant on the said Gulf of Finland, which could be a weakness far into the future, but not right now. I mean, they're free to just build civilization up there, and we see plenty more cities being formed, along with more inside also the Brown team, because they also expanded, although not as much into suitable areas, because over here has like a lot of fresh lakes, I'm pretty sure. I might be wrong with that, though. We also now come down to here, where we see all of these nations begin to explore into the Belarusian area. And it doesn't take very long for the entire area to be found. And these guys, as we see a lot, all scramble for it. So let's see what the end looks like, shall we? And so we have something like this coming out as the post-treaty of the division of Belarusia. And you may notice it really makes the borders not look very neat, but that's what happens from a rush. We also see a small Belarusian state form in the west of the real-life state. Right here, this gray nation. We also need to come over here to the Alps, where we see, after tedious work from both the Pink and the Samnite nations, we finally have it get discovered. and these two nations decide that they will meet and go along it, dividing it properly. They would start over here, go up along, into there, down, and eventually convene it to look something along the lines of this. And honestly, outside of the north, most of Europe is entirely full. I mean, there's definitely going to be some conflict in there eventually. But right now, there isn't anything. We also come down here with the Samnites real quick, whom are able to convince the Sicilians and the Sardinians to join them. These Samnites, given ideas by Pomerania in my comment section, have been on a wild campaign. I try to favor mostly. But yeah. We also see the same kind of style happening with this green team. Oh. That's why. Yeah, that makes sense. And we see them annex the oh my lord, I completely forgot. The South French team right there. But yeah, we honestly do see the Pax Romana being formed. What we also see is the Orange team finally decide to begin trying to tackle the desert, but they're also going for the sea a little bit. As we see them begin to go massively inland, trying to get any territory they can. And to be fair, they do find some oases, but they don't really find anything very compatible with civilization. So the best they can do is march in and say that it's theirs. Meaning that they go and do something. Oh, they're not very strong like that. But they wouldn't be alone in this, as we also see, as it continues to get deserty going south, we see the Ping team opt to do the same, marching inland across this whole area, with these islands still just kind of just chilling. We all now over move. What? We all now move over. Let me fix that. To the Balkans, which are about to get even messier. Well, maybe. As we have the purple team. It won't go too much. It'll actually get a little bit cleaner. I see the purple team will slam over this nation and take away them off the map. Make once again, as has been said before, expanding the Second Purple Empire. We also see this team force readjustments with the Thessalonikians along there. Same with the Athenians, but that's because nobody really wants a war. And the same goes with Cyprus, who was able to peacefully get their city, meaning Cyprus. Sparta gets land from Cyprus, who's now just Crete, this island, I believe, and Cyprus itself. We now come all the way down here to the red team, where we see this nation try to absorb these two nations. They, in their respect, do start the war winning, marching down against the Sinai and seizing the city. However, the old line team wants to land back too, and they march suddenly against the Maroon team, forcing them to hand over all three of those cities And as we see these two nations push the Maroon team back completely, we see them are forced to make a treaty where, real quick, I just want to make sure that I did, okay, yeah, wait, no, that wouldn't have been an issue. We see the old border being reinstated, and also, hey, that I actually made the border pretty close that time. Better than what I normally do. Anyway, with that nerfed, we go scroll all the way down. Ethiopia finally is going to take a chill pill, but Africa may not. As although these nations, this nation slows down, these five don't want to. And they continue exploring everywhere. They explore more down around this lake and into Tanzania and Uganda and Kenya. And slowly, albeit with some Ethiopian help, they find literally all of this land, even down here along this guy, and find this and this. I mean, there's a lot of land in Africa that nobody has. That means someone's gonna have it. The first to move would be this red team colored, who comes over to this lake and stakes its own claims. This nation, realizing how much land there is, decided to flip its ideas and takes this. And they say, you know what? This too. Now, this nation can't really do much. Oh, their colors are too close. 1 second. Hold on. That's annoying. That's too close again to that nation now. That'll work. And we see them come out into all this land. We'd see this nation go into overdrive, almost reaching the sea. And we would lastly see this nation come down along all this, meaning they're all getting nice and big. And the same goes with the purple team, whom also presses north, all the way back into these territories, and takes Zanzibar, despite the group passing it up many years ago. And they don't actually explore south this time, because of the northern expansion costs. We see Arabia stay peaceful this time, and we move up to we come all the way back to the start in the Russian front, where we see a bunch of nations slowly begin to chip away at the Russian frontier. Though it's very hard with multiple big rivers and the extreme cold. Although Caucasia does take on the monumental task of exploring some of the Caspian Sea, finding much water and a little bit more land. We also look at Iran, who goes all the way up to and a little bit into the Afghani mountains. And it says, and like most do, goes, hey, Crimea State. And they go up and seize all this, and Caucasia is not to be outdone, and slides on through and seizes this. No cities though, because this is a really far out from most of the considers, and it's not honestly good enough for anyone to risk. This is the reason Ethiopia didn't do a lot is because they decided to port into and find this island, which is good for them because that means it will be a good spot to help kickstart a navy, which they could definitely use. But yeah. We also finally see India moving north again, finding all this area, and eventually follow up the Himalayas, something like this, rounding the Afghan mountains, meaning the Indian plain has been found. Great India would not be able to get very far up into here, as they had less border with it. Of course, Bangladesh is going to go a little bit in, but the one to do the most would be India, who, despite having breakaways of expansion before, just can't help themselves at getting a good, huge swath of land like the good old days. However, this land can actually be lived on. Shocking, I know. And we see, yeah, I'm at one there. Plenty of cities begin to form across the frontier. And yes, that is a highly populated Bangladesh. I'm LARPing, you can't stop me. Alright, actually, I'm gonna move that north a little bit. And again, we're going to see Southeast Asia not stop moving. And well, I just show you that real quick. It won't take long. And now we see this become the new map of Southeast Asia, along with Jakarta becoming filled up, except for these China islands. These are still not found. A lot more expansion into the interior, along with Borneo and what's that called? I don't remember what the capital island's called. But I did leave this uncluttered for a reason, because we're actually going to see a group of people break off of the north of the Hainan Peninsula group. They go around where we're known as Hong Kong and creep up the peninsula. We would see them cross multiple river deltas, past the Shanghai area, and eventually come up here and find this peninsula. Now, some think there'll be better stuff beyond, but one group stays there. And we see the two groups literally form on opposite peninsulas on the same lake, in the same country, same everything is essentially the same except for the exact peninsula. Are we serious? That's always annoying when it forces me downwards. And we see this pink nation here, and a slightly different shade over here. And 50-50 chance they both only have one city to start out with. Well, if Pink Nation does get the Port Arthur Island part. Oh my goodness. What just happened? Anyway. Yeah, so I forgot to put these down. Okay. But anyway, we see this become the new map of, like, the Chinese, I don't know what the sea is called. But now, that will most likely be the end of this video. Hope you guys liked it. I believe this was episode 13. And I'll see y'all in the next one. Hope you guys like my Clipchamp style. Well, bye-bye.